like to start? Zoom, 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 zoom. Zorch. Zoom. Whoosh.
I like to be dramatic.
Oh, I have seen it.
Do I look good?
Sure.
The Young Company is a collaboration between Classic Stage Company and Columbia School of the Arts graduate acting program. And really, it's a bridge between the academy and the profession.
Being part of the Young Company really completes the grad school experience for me. We've taken a lot of our training, the vocal training, the movement training, and specifically the Shakespeare training, which is so much of our first 2 years, and it's, you know, kind of pulling what works for us specifically.
It's a great sort of culmination of our training, and then a great step towards a career in the arts, where you can, one, put on a great performance, but at the same time, really be respecting and aware of your audience and bringing them closer to the experience as well.
Trying to be a working actor, you're pounding the pavement all the time, you're auditioning, you're working 5 random jobs, trying to scrape by, and this is actually a chance to get to be in a show with a great director and great material and work on something, and then to be able to work with kids and teach them about what's happening.
The audiences for the Young Company include middle school and high school students from all 5 boroughs. We go into their schools and teach workshops, and then they come to our theater to see a 90-minute version of Twelfth Night.
It's seeing the way that theater gives kids an outlet that they are not accustomed to having. It gives them boundaries that are different than classroom boundaries.
Many people put Shakespeare on such a high, pedestal, and for these kids to actually have the permission to take his language and just bring it into colloquial terms and the way they speak to each other was really exciting for them, because they got to explore the language as if it's just modern day present.
As much as we might paraphrase into modern English, we always will go back to the original text so that the kids know that it did come from Shakespeare's words and that they can actually use Shakespeare's words in a more meaningful way to express deeper thoughts than perhaps even modern day language can express.
Sometimes with Shakespeare on stage, there's a kind of distancing classical thing, and so that young people say, I don't understand that. With this way of working, the school children understand it completely. They laugh at all the jokes, they get the romantic story, they get the drama, and they're thoroughly engaged. It offers them a heightened experience of the world and a language that can contain that heightened experience. And there is no more heightened time of one's life than when one is a teenager.
They will make the language accessible to themselves without prodding. So for example, today we gave out these scenes to these 5th graders, and all of a sudden, how does he love me turned into, how does he love me?
This is, how does he love me? How does he love me?
I don't think they've seen very many serious Shakespeare performances, and so they will immediately bring it down to an accessible level.
How would you say?
Otherwise, they won't do it.
I think there's this misconception a lot of young people have about Shakespeare being very old and stodgy and not relating to them. So it's exciting for us to go into these schools and to hear their reactions to the material, and when you break it down and teach it and get it into their own voices, the discoveries they make in the room, it's been great to hear them say, oh, I never knew Shakespeare was dealing with the same thing we're dealing with.
They always consistently find a way to be themselves while speaking Shakespearean language.
It's very exciting to see these students get energized because they have something that they can relate to.
They're seeing themselves on stage. They're getting an opportunity to go, my goodness, that could be me. And it could be them because it's somebody who, they're seeing someone who represents their background and their age. There's not that much difference between the two, and I think that's very galvanizing.
I can't stress enough how vital it is for the School of Arts to be connected to the community. And you realize that there's such a large audience with, a multicultural background that theater needs to talk to and speak to and perform in front of, so that they are included in the art form that we have quote-unquote mastered, which is theater, so that we can form these relationships and bonds that can blossom into something that's even greater than we ever expected.